Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you. I'll call to order the June 22nd meeting of the Board of Directors of Community Television of Santa Cruz County. It's 5:01 p.m. and I'll have Secretary call the roll. Chair Lanier, I'm here. Director Maziarz, here. Director Gudger, here. Director Hall, here. Director Ibarra is here. Director Mannheim, here. Director O'Driscoll,
Here.
and Director Woodmansee. And it's open to the public on Zoom. Seeing no one, I'll still say any person may address the board during this oral communications period. All oral communications must be directed to an item not listed on the day's consent or regular agenda. It must be within the jurisdiction of the board. Any oral communications? Consideration of late additions to the agenda, additions and deletions to the consent and regular agendas. I would like to add an item, if it's appropriate, just to discuss July and August meetings, and we can do that towards the end. I think the calendar shows no July and yes August. Anyway, we can discuss that. I'll make that item well. And regular agenda. Except April, oops, hold on a second here, didn't know myself. Consent agenda, approve the meeting agenda. Approve board meeting minutes of April 27, 2026, and accept the April and May 26 financial reports as recommended by the Finance Committee. Comments and discussion?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
Okay.
And I just want to mention that we've done very well this year again on the financial reports, but not at the end. And there are a couple of things I wanted to highlight. First, the Worthy Studio has done very well. So thank you for all that, making that happen. And thank you also for the work to do the separation or our evolution from satellite. And you'll notice there's some issues in there that are related to that have been primarily addressed by the budget adjustments we previously approved. So anyhow, those are just quick comments. We have a lot to talk about, but there's not any bad news here, so I thought I'll just leave it at that.
Great, thank you.
You need a second?
I need a second. Matria?
I'll second.
Mr. Hall, move, Matria, second.
I did have one question.
Yeah.
I did see on the May financials that we spent $1,230 on advertising. I'm just curious what we spent that on.
Do you want to go on that one?
I couldn't hear what you said.
Sorry, we speak up. I noticed on the May financial report that we spent $1,230 on advertising. I'm just curious what that was for.
Oh, we did that. When we launched the new website, we got a Google Ads campaign going to get people to know that it was there. So when you type in Santa Cruz or co-working in Santa Cruz, you see our ads and hopefully go to our website.
Great.
And that we have a $7,000 budget for that. So you'll see more, and we'll spend all the whole budget by the end of July.
Great, fantastic, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Get back to the agenda. I think it's the executive director's report.
Okay, thank you. This is my report for April and May. And we submitted our FY 26-27 budget to this board, and you approved it. And so we sent it on with the annual report to the Board of Supervisors. And I have gotten a word from the Information Services Department that it has been approved, but they said, be on the lookout, because I usually need to sign it in person, and I haven't heard from them. So I guess it's probably bundled up with a bunch of things. They're gonna do it all at once, but it has been approved. They let us know, so we don't need to worry about it, but I'll just keep my eye out and let you know when I sign it. The county, let's see, we submitted our quarterly financial report to the county, which we started doing that this year. This is our first year, and so we have a special cover letter explaining the report, and then we report on what we've done in the county. And they have been happy with all of them so far. So this is our first year doing it. We're almost to the last one of the first year. We completed our business property, cyber, media, and directors and officers insurance applications. And our quotes are now coming. We're getting they'll, of course, they'll give us, they'll bind us. I sent a letter to bind, so I haven't gotten that back from them yet, but they'll all go into action before July 1st, which is when we have to start providing certifications to the counties and cities. And that's coming up, but we do that every year, not a problem. Under revenue, the co-working center earned, this is so exciting, but don't be excited. $15,540 in April, but, there were a lot of overdue payments in there, not a lot, but we had one, we still have this customer who got a grant to run her small nonprofit, but they gave her the grant, but not the money. So she's, was waiting for it. It came and she paid. So that's why the extra money in there. And, overall, we are 5.6% ahead of our operating budget. So we'll certainly end in the black, I believe, unless something happens. We should be good. Under paid services, we did 17 government meetings in April and 21 in May, which is, this is budget time, so it's very exciting. Under facilities and equipment and inventory, we have a thing, well, all corporations do, called a fixed assets list, and everything that we own is on it. And when Mel and I came, Mel came just before a meeting. And right before Mel came, there was a big audit. So Mel has one that the auditors did. And we've been trying to reconcile that with what we actually have and what we've divested of. So we're almost done. That's kind of a big process. What we have to do is look at that list, see if we have all those things, and then we see things we have on our list that are not in that list. And then we kind of intermingle. So we're getting there. And hopefully, we'll finish it we'll finish it in July for sure. Victor is working on the Spanish captions. He says that there was a demo and we were able to send Spanish captions live and somewhere. And so that works now, the system works. And before last month, there was a card that was broken and that's been repaired. So now the system is repaired, it does work correctly. And now they're working on systems for the post system. So when we caption, we have a caption thing that we have to do post-production to. It's tricky. So they have a bunch of ways they have to export files in a certain way. They have to go to a certain place. So they're figuring out how to do that without goofing up the captioning or the time code or anything else. So, because we can't edit a government meeting, obviously. So they just cut off the heads and tails, but it's still a little tricky. So that's in process and, he'll let us know when he's got it.
You want to also mention, because we mentioned last time that Aura system that we were supposed to put in place to bring a visualization.
We haven't had to do it yet. It was put off. Yeah. The mandate to do that was moved back a year because I'm sure everyone was like, we can't do this. So we have one more year to come up with something. And the way we send our signal out, our TV signal out goes out on a machine or a system or a platform called Cablecast. And I spoke to the Cablecast people when I went to the convention, and they told me they were working and very close on having a system ready to go. And that would be built into what we're using now. So it would be easy to just flip that switch. And there are others, but I would go with the native one. We already have that system, and unless it's terrible and we don't know, we haven't seen it yet. But that's probably what will happen. But we do, our vendor for the captioning equipment we have is looking for other solutions. So we'll be able to compare and hopefully we'll find something. I don't know, I bet it's pushed off again. I mean, this is really difficult, especially for small. Some cities are exempt, but only cities with less than 50,000 people in them. So we exceed that. But I think, this is really hard to do for anyone, especially small cable companies. So I suspect it'll be pushed back, but we are going to try to have a solution. My transition, usually this is staff and staff is just the same as always. So the only one changing is me. So I thought I would add some stuff in here about what I'm up to. So it looks like I haven't been doing much. It's a pretty short report, but, what I've been trying to do is document everything that I do. So the person who comes after me will have something on paper, step by step. Here's how you do this. Here's why you're asked for that. This is how we do this, and this is why. A lot of why documents. And that I think will make it easier for them you know, even if I'm able to train them before I go, they will, you know, not remember everything. So I created a Google Drive just for that person. It's just called the Executive Director Drive. And it has everything in it, including all the contracts we have going on right now, our insurance policies. And any document that I thought would be valuable to have is in there. And searchable, luckily, because Google by whatever, any keyword. So hopefully there's about 32 documents in there now. And I think I got it, but if I think of anything else, I'll just add another document. There's, you know, everything from where the keys are to where we have archives to what's in the archives, all that kind of stuff that will be, even if I was able to tell them all this, they'll forget. So there's this backup thing, and I wanted to organize it, and I might still yet be able to make some kind of database for it, but right now it's in a Google Drive and you can search by keyword. And that's my report.
Great.
Quick question. I may have flown down and completely missed this, but when we're talking about on the audit and equipment, all the equipment that we have and the auditor, you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
tax?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what we get taxed on.
Okay, and do we know when at what point we get back in touch with them and have them come over and look at our list and.
Well, what they said was that they would do that next year. And so I can contact her. I have, you know, we talk every once in a while and see if we can arrange it. Right now, what we're doing is just cleaning it up.
Right.
So it'll be accurate. Mel's very nervous that they'll come in and find something that we haven't written down on the list
Right.
or something like that. So we're trying to be real careful with that. And she has given us a document where we can get things off the list with. So we're working on that. But she's thought next year they might come, but we didn't make an appointment to do that. Do you think that we should?
No,
No?
No, I wasn't, I didn't, and she seemed to suggest at
Yeah.
some point that would be
That
a
they
good
could do
idea.
that. I didn't follow up
Yeah,
on that
okay.
because I just thought, well, let's do our own thing, clean up our list and.
On the next.
yeah, I think
Person.
Someone else could.
we're prepared for when they come.
Yeah, we want to
And when
be
they-
totally
But
prepared.
I'm not interested in
Invite
bringing them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can wait till they come.
Yeah, I think I
I
don't,
mean, even if they do it retro.
Yeah. yeah, I don't think they really are dying to do it. I think
Yeah.
that was kind of an offer if we needed help, but so
Yeah.
I think we got it. We've almost done. I've looked at everything in our list and Mel's list, and I've added the things that are in mine, but I'm still adding things. So, and then there's some things that I don't, you know, it's the first time in a long time I've been stumped about what a piece of equipment is. So I have to talk to Victor about 5 or 6 things. I just don't know what they are. And so I need to find them. And I believe they're in the control room, but the control room, a lot of stuff is behind a nice neat thing. So it's neat under the desk. People don't put the equipment, but now I can't see it. So I got pictures of all the equipment in there with the tags on them and I can check those off, but there's some stuff I can't find. I think it's in there behind that barrier. So Victor's gonna help me next week and we'll track that down. I think that's it.
All right, thanks. Any other questions or comments? Great, thank you. Number 8, discuss and approve the equipment changes in the equipment grant program and revised equipment purchase request. And my apologies, I had this document electronically and I neglected to include it. Just when I was compiling the agenda, so you have a hard copy. Thanks, Becca, for that.
Oh, no worries.
Again, you've got the role.
Okay, this year, after, we discussed in depth with we had met with Apple and, the COE and I met with Apple about, what equipment they wanted and what would be better to have than what we have now. And we went through what iPads we have now and how old they were and which ones could be traded in and all kinds of things. And then just before I was gonna, and you guys gave me okey dokey to release them. And I went through the process and it was so funny. I got the lease documents and I couldn't sign them. Every time I signed them, it said, now put the code in, and they never sent the code. So I sent a message to the woman's name that was there to get the code, and she never responded. And then the COE contacted me and said, we changed our minds, we want something different. So luckily I hadn't bought those yet. So we escaped there. But then they wanted, they thought the kids would like cameras instead of iPads. So I did a lot of research. I came up with the simplest camera I could find that any kid could use. And I love it because on the button where you're supposed to press to start recording, it says shoot. So I think it's pretty, and the description I find very insulting. They said it was great for seniors and kids. So I think that teachers will be able to use this. So it's a pretty simple camera. I got one. I'm gonna take it to the county office and let them fool around with it and give it to a couple teachers, see what they think. They also asked for wireless mics. I was like, oh, okay, they're not always reliable, but okay. So we've got some wireless mics there. There is a mic on the camera, so if that, all fails, camera's got a mic. And then they asked for green screens. And I was able to find a very inexpensive setup, so I got them 40 green screens. And this equipment cost half of what we would have spent on iPads. But I wanted to get your okie dokie before I spent the money, since it isn't exactly what you authorized. So this is a really simple camera, a very easy mic. It plugs in, just with a 3.5 millimeter plug, like so many things. And the green screen, and at first I was like, oh, I'm just gonna give them one for each school. But I went online on YouTube and looked at how teachers were using green screens, and they really use them for a million things. I used the camera and I thought, well, this is great. They can make things, but they can also have that camera in their classroom and do all this other stuff. And kids are doing their geography reports with the country behind them and video, and they're using them as exercises. My favorite one was where they recorded themselves and then they asked themselves questions. It was called Reflections. And they did so many cool things with the green screen. I thought, oh, let me find a cheap one. And I found one that comes with lights and is easy to set up. That this was inexpensive. It was really cheap to do. So all of this gear that in total was about $20,000, and we would have spent or it's less than that, it's 14,000, and we would have spent 20 some on iPads. So
it's 14,000 for 40 kits,
Yeah.
basically?
Yeah. It's very affordable. So, and I should have put I'm sorry, guys.
No, go for it. Put it over there for you.
I thought I had the number on here, but I don't, but it's less than what we approve for iPads, about half.
Okay.
So,
And the only difference is the iPads, we were gonna make payments, lease payments, basically.
Yes.
On it, and this would be a lump sum.
Yeah. But we do have it, and it is the end of the year, so it'd be good to spend it out of this
Yeah.
budget. Yeah. So I need to hurry, so I'll probably order this tomorrow with you.
Okay.
Question, Becca, have you discussed the specific models with Stephanie or Jason and the CLE? Or
Yeah.
categories?
They've
Okay.
got this, they've seen it, we've talked.
They signed off
and-
on the specific models.
Yes, and I'm gonna take one down to them. So they can see, I bought one, so they can experiment with it. Yeah. And yeah, they've seen all of this and okey dokey that they were happy.
Question? Oh, sorry.
Tom briefed in first.
You mentioned you saw how teachers were using it. I was curious, is this equipment gonna be more for the teachers to use in the classroom or for the students to use? Or
It's
do
for
we know?
students to use, but it'll be used in the classroom, so it'll be in there. So what they usually do is they put up the green screen and just leave it there. And so this one has stands, but a lot of teachers just pin it to the wall.
Uh-huh.
And then they use it all the time, and it's in the classrooms, and what happens is they move it around, so it is a package of gear that moves from classroom to classroom. I think that each classroom gets 5 kits, and then they kind of switch them around.
And I'm curious, how many schools do we have in the district?
There are about 70 public schools, and 8 comprehensive high schools, which are the majority of students who would use these.
No.
Yeah, the teachers use it as a benefit. It'll just be in their classroom for kids to use, but then teachers might as well use it. And the kids use it. They make the reports that go on the screen and they make the little videos and You can look on YouTube, it's hilarious, they are really clever.
Sure.
Yes,
I don't wanna be a gear snob. But, you know, Kent Faith is not a brand I've ever heard of, I mean, and I've used some pretty cheap Chinese.
Well, there's at the bottom of there is I think a place where you can click for reviews, and it's got excellent reviews, I know too, that's what I
Looking
thought.
at the specs though, I think you notice it says 18 times digital zoom,
Yeah,
so it does not have an optical zoom.
no, but these are kids, they're not making TV.
Well-
I'll be okay.
It's a 1/2 inch CMOS sensor, right? So, I mean, even like micro four thirds is considered, and that's slightly over an inch, right? So it's a pretty tiny sensor,
But it
so,
has image stabilization, which is much more valuable for children.
right,
They can walk with this thing and still get a good shot.
right. No, I don't know, it doesn't say if it's physical or digital, right? If it's digital image stabilization or an actual like shock mount.
No, it's digital, but I've used some of that digital stuff on other things and it works pretty well.
Yeah,
Also, you know, it's for kids, this is a $200 camera. I mean,
Right.
we're buying 40 of them,
yeah. I mean,
so.
I'm just wondering how
Also,
much
it needs
better
to
it
be
is than an
simple.
iPad. Yeah,
Yeah, it's gotta be simple. This is for learning, not really for, you know, we'll put it on TV. But we're not in HD. Oh, actually, I guess we are.
streaming,
4K.
Yeah,
yeah, streaming.
yeah, it is 4K.
Well. Yeah, right, but it doesn't say, you know, what the bit rate is, right? Like 4K at,
It says 60 FPS.
that's frames, but, so I mean, yeah, 4K at, you know, 60 megabits per second or 30 megabit or 25, you know. So anyways, you know, something can be 4K, but still have pretty bad image
Low
quality.
bandwidth or something.
I don't know, if county office education is happy with them, then.
I guess the question is, well, if we approve this and the county hasn't seen the equipment yet, so they're gonna see it tomorrow. If they start playing around with it and have concerns,
Wait, now come back.
it
Yeah, well,
just won't be this fiscal year.
yeah.
They'll be in
Well,
the,
here's my thought is, well, I'll see them before the end of July, but I think what would be possible is for you to approve the amount. And maybe I would just stick within that amount,
right.
I think they're gonna be happy with this, they've seen it, they haven't held it in their hands, but they've seen it and read the description.
Okay.
Well, go ahead, Pete.
So you had your hand up, Cruz.
No, you have a technical comment, mine is an observation.
So when they had iPads,
They
were doing editing on iPad.
Yeah, they were editing on the iPad.
So how are they gonna do editing with this class?
That's what I asked. Well, I wasn't, when they said they want to do this, I was like, oh, you don't really want to do this, because this iPad's got everything built in, it's easy to use, kids know how to use it, they were adamant. And they said that they already use things online to edit with. And there are online things that kids already have in the classroom on their little computers. And I remember when we first started, there was something, it was called Something Go. And it not only could you edit, but it had free clips that you could edit in. And so it's kid friendly and, you know, editing is not. So I think if they're gonna edit, that they have found what they like. So that's what I thought too. I said, oh, what about editing? And I asked them all kinds of questions because I didn't think this was kid friendly. But they feel like kids could make this jump and I found the simplest camera on earth.
I mean, they usually have Chromebooks, right? They usually have like Chromebooks, right?
Yeah,
I don't think Chromebooks, like,
I don't know if you can put video.
how
in
much
them.
local storage, I mean, you know, local storage you have, like,
I'm behind them. Someone's this kids at.
yeah. So I mean, I guess you have to deal with like, yeah, where do they keep their footage and
Well,
even if they're editing online?
the camera uses a card, so they can use a card reader and put it in there if that's possible. They could have a drive, and if that's an issue, I can buy each school a drive and they can put their video on and keep it. They could also put their drive, they have Google, so they can put the video in a Google Drive.
Joe and then Nick.
Well, why don't you go ahead, Nick? Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, I think I share, point that I think, Tom made first, which is my concern is working at the county office of education, just that we knowing this is the direction that they want to go, that my colleagues would like to go in terms of cameras over iPad, but in terms of the specifics and the editing questions that have been raised, the worry being if we purchase now, we could end up with underused kits. So I think I would support maybe the amount approach and then getting clarity and hopefully even, in writing from them, not to us, but to you, email, but just, really.
They did tell me, I. met with
Pinning
them.
down my,
Well, I
my
can
county
look up
colleagues
what
who know
they're
much
gonna
more
use.
about this in
Yeah.
terms of how whether they understand that and have a plan for the editing side and understand and have reviewed the equipment specifics. And then if so, I really trust them. They work with students all the
Yeah.
time and I think that would sound great.
Yeah, and they just, the last time, well, the last time they had, when you had the iPads, they did this podcast series where they interviewed all the LGBTQ elders who complained that they didn't feel that they were elders. And they did 67 podcasts and they did it, they did not edit them on the iPad. They used something else. And I think that's how they discovered that there are online options, because that's what they told me. I said, what about editing? Right away, you can't edit in the camera. They're like, oh, no, we use editing online. So they have some type of plan. And originally that was a question because usually those plans cost money. And there was a whole thing about not being able to pay, and that's why the iPad, because you could edit on the iPad. But I guess it was so cumbersome that they figured out a way to get what they needed.
Can I ask which line item is this coming out of?
Oh, it's,
Equipment?
Used equipment grant?
No, there's nothing there.
well, it used to be there,
But
but
it ain't
we
there
just
anymore,
moved the
yeah.
money. So the money will come out of.
Left it all in one.
Yeah, I'm trying
it's
to
in the
remember
same
which one.
place. It's equipment, I think it's non-depreciated.
Non-depreciated where the 20, there is right now,
Yeah,
the 16,000.
yes.
I have a motion, but go ahead.
Yeah, I only have two observations. One, after reading our strategic plan and looking at where we're headed in terms of media. It was a good eye opener. I kind of knew it, but when you put that chart down. So I spent some time on TikTok just out of curiosity, watching how you make these. I had no idea. I have an iPhone. And it was fascinating how young the kids were making them. So I'm kind of glad we're doing this in a supervised environment. But what age group are you gonna be working with? Because I know Utah shut off some things like this.
Social media for anyone under
Yeah,
16.
social media, and I would suspect this becomes social media at some point that would hit their deadline. I think it was 12 or 13, so I would presume these are gonna be older students that are working on this, or are they?
Well, they can be any, but I think what they did last time with the podcast was they were on YouTube.
Okay, so they didn't get into the.
They didn't go
okay.
on
Okay,
social
they
media
didn't do all
like
the, okay,
internet.
that
And I
answers
think
my-
Nick was saying it's primarily gonna be the secondary level,
Okay,
most likely.
I mean, it was fascinating to watch, I mean, to see 9-year-olds making things, I mean,
Hmm.
I thought you learned how to.
Oh, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
so I keep watching them, it's fascinating, I'm playing around with it, I don't think I'll do anything at my age, who wants to see somebody my age?
I
So
have-
go ahead, Tom has a motion.
Well, I have one question, which is not this specific to this, but if we use this or if you get a different kind of camera, how long is that? Do they own it? Do we just give it to them? Is this a lease?
No, it's a
What's the-
grant.
It's a grant.
So we give it to them for 3 years usually. And that's kind of as far out as we
Yeah,
could make them look.
Yeah.
After that, formats change and stuff happens. So
then
that's what we've done.
and then what happens? Does COE own that equipment?
Oh, no, it comes back to us.
Come back.
Now, we'll get all those iPads.
It won't be worth a lot, but.
No, no.
We get it.
A fixed asset risk.
They're really good with the equipment. We've sent them, they have 50 iPads. They've had them for 3 years and all of them are fine. One has a chip in the corner, which I made.
That's for you.
So they're, I was trying to get it into the case. So, and they said to it, we chipped it. I was like, no, I did that. So they've done great. They really, they haven't lost anything. I mean, they've really been good. It's amazing. I mean, and in the iPad kit, there's all these little things. There's headphones and little cords that connect and separate microphones. They haven't lost anything. They've been really good. So I don't worry about the gear. And this is pretty, iPads, things change and stuff like, that's kind of cutting edge, just as a camera. It's kind of like all cameras, it's not a lot's gonna happen to change, they may be able to use this for 5 years.
Mhm.
But, depending on what happens, but yeah, if they take care of it, it'll last quite a while, and the green screens, those don't change.
All right, I would entertain a motion.
So I would move, I'm looking at that line item right now. At the end of May, there was 16,831. I would move, so this is line item 7057, equipment non-depreciated. I would move that we approve the expenditure of any funds in that account for this fiscal year. That gives you a little leeway, and that you work with COE to make sure that they are comfortable with this equipment, and that if not this,
Yep.
you have then the
Can do,
ability to
yeah, I
go
know.
with something else, gives you a little extra headroom.
I'm calling it non-depreciated because it's not very expensive, so I don't think we can depreciate, it's not it's not $1,000, I mean, it isn't a big enough thing it's just inexpensive. I mean, we have a lot more money in depreciated, so,
Right,
but, I think this fits in, I think, and, it should be fine.
and this is giving you an extra couple of $1,000 if they need to make some changes.
Yeah, I need to, I should, let me just take I think that it is that, I just wanna make sure it isn't $20,000 that I have.
No, it's 17, Thomas, yeah,
Okay.
right.
Well, she's looking at,
No, I'm looking
at how
at
much
my-
it's gonna.
Oh, her.
Yeah, the original one had the price at the bottom, and this one doesn't. Oh, I know why, it was over here on the side. I need to open that up and make sure of the price.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I call this document.
Well, Becca's working on the finance report. I just wanted to mention Keith has returned to the finance committee, for those of you who didn't know that.
Ah.
So we have a quorum that doesn't depend on all of us being alive.
So Tom, the 7057 had 16,841, is that what we said?
That's what we had on the May report, yeah.
Where's that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's $14,000.
So it gives you a little
Yeah,
extra
give-
if you need.
Well,
it.
but yeah, in case there's shipping or something, and there might be. But yeah, so it's 14,159.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So we have a motion
Make it
and a
easier
second,
for you to
any
look
other
up.
discussion, questions? Let's go ahead and do a roll call again.
Chair Lanier,
Yes.
Director Maziarz,
Yes.
Director Gudger,
Yes.
Director Hall,
Yes.
Director Ibarra, yes, Director Manheim.
Yes,
Director O'Driscoll,
Yes.
Director Woodmansee.
Yes.
One thing, if the tray is open on a lunch and you haven't, you might invite him over and let him look at it, see what his thoughts, even though it's moving on, but. I trust his judgment in a lot of this, and his too, but. I think anything more than that for the audience is doing this. It's not necessary either.
Well, that it's easy to use is the
Yeah.
big thing, and that it looks like a camera, that was their deal. And it has I like the stabilization and the zoom, because, kids like to zoom. And they wanna get close to that bug. And so that's fun for them, and it has that, stabilization, which is so much, because they wanna run with it.
Okay, let's go to item number 9, review and approve final draft of the 2026 Community Television Sanitary Plan Strategic Plan. And I'll just note that we did look at this a couple, 3 or 4 months ago, and I think conceptually approved it. And then Nick has made some nice changes at the top, just sort of giving a bird's eye view, North Star view of where we're headed. That included, I've gone through and kind of tightened it up and edited it. And so any comments, discussion? Kind of a long time coming, and it's almost out of date already.
so we're wondering what the cable subscription, when you've got.
Yeah.
Where is it now? Cause that.
Yeah. But it does, what I like about it, it does really bring together in the spot sort of what we're doing and where what we're looking ahead at. And gives a good overview of what the operation is.
I really appreciated the first part, because looking into the future in this world is pretty difficult, but I've heard Tom talk about some of these statistics for a number of years, and having it laid out so clearly in here is a real eye opener for me, at least in terms of visualizing and change.
Yeah, Chair, I thought it struck a nice, the strategic plan struck a nice balance between, you know, cold reality.
Doom and gloom.
And some hope, you know, and, you know, acknowledging the potential, there for, you know, community TV becoming a hub for digital creators and, you know, I like that it includes reaching out to youth and, so yeah, I thought it was very well balanced. You know, it's not pie in the sky, you know, unrealistic, but at the same time, it's also acknowledging that there is a place for CTV in this world and, yeah, with right partnerships and the right, you know, leadership and everything, we can do more than keep the lights on.
Do this thing, yeah. Keith, any comments?
No.
I took, you had some comments in there that I incorporated
Yeah,
in it, if you
it
know.
looks like it.
Yeah.
I have one comment.
Yeah.
And thank you also to Chair Linier and the board for being willing to consider some of these additions and summary, and that was a really great process, so thank you. And one thing that I am excited about and hope that we can put into action as we move forward is the part about measuring success by community participation and reach, because I think we have, you know, the frontier has changed so much for this organization that when you look at, you know, the views on some of our YouTube videos, right, they're actually lower now than they were a decade ago, which has put us in this kind of strange gulf of people are changing so quickly that in some ways our reach has gone down even on the digital channels where people are more. So I think if we are able to implement that and be really data driven by and experimental with how we implement the strategic plan and hold ourselves to, are people using our content? Are they using the cameras? We're getting them the right cameras. Are they viewing the videos? And then adapt very quickly, especially with the digital side. I'll be really excited and enthusiastic about what we can do. And I think there's a lot of possibility there too. You know, we have this really great base of funding to use in this innovative way. And that's exciting.
The finally comment, when I read through here, I saw UCSC, and I don't want to say too much, but there is such a potential up there, and there's absolutely hardly any way to ever penetrate it. I've been on board after board, and it's like a little buzz up there. And they even have a digital media program.
Yeah.
You think they might want to try it out, and it just doesn't cross. So thank you for mentioning it. It's about what we seem to be able to do.
Okay, no other thoughts, comments? Well, I guess we can just, you think approve it? Do I have a motion to approve? And adopt it, and then this goes into our records, our archives, I guess, and it'll be helpful for the next person that comes in.
I'll move the strategic plan as written.
All right. I'll second. Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Okay. So item number 10, I put this on, I've been the personnel committee, which consists of myself, Matea, and Janice. I've been talking over the last couple of months about the executive director's position, and we've kind of gone around and around on different options, whether could be a part-time position, whether it should be a full-time position, whether it have an interim position. I haven't discussed it with the whole board. We could also, now that we have a larger forum, have another person on that. But I'm thinking we need to have essentially a search committee that is different from the personnel committee, I think. And then I'm interested in what folks, I'd like to involve the whole board in this. And should we restructure the position? Is it working as it is now? I'm interested in your thoughts too, Becca, having been there, and just sort of what are we looking for? It's an opportunity, you know, as we move ahead. And then we've got to, you know, advertise. We've put together a job description and a list of duties or of accomplishments that Becca has drafted. So that's in there too. So we can use that as we try to focus on this. But I'm interested in what other people are thinking. We should. Fran and Janice and I kind of talked about it. It's changed our minds a couple of times, at least I have. So I'm interested in what other people are thinking. So it's open for discussion.
Sorry, Chair,
Yeah.
just for clarification, in the agenda, it wasn't clearly delineated, like I was going through the strategic plan. And suddenly I come across a big picture and I'm like, oh, wait, is this still the strategic plan? No, this must be the duties of the executive director, right?
Okay.
Then, of course, the job description was
Yeah.
pretty, and I was curious whether that was based on the previous one or if this is a new.
This is new. Oh, this is new. I probably should put a title on top of that. Yeah, but that big picture was list of duties sort of or tasks and then the job description. So that was for this new item.
Thank you for them. And then, yeah, I'm curious to hear, you know, we talked like Shirley has said about, I'm curious to hear what others.
Well, why don't you tell us what you've gone back and forth on, and then we can chime in there, just because you thought about it probably more deeply than I have, to be honest, because you've been sitting and talking to each other.
I think the big question in my mind is, now that this is up and running, we've got the co-working going and pretty stable, you know, things are stable with these two operations, the community TV and government programming and that kind of thing, and then the co-working center, which brings in revenue, are pretty stable operations. Do we need a full-time executive director? Would that be helpful? Do you want an evangelist, you know, who's got sort of business development kind of thing, making things happen? Or is it more of a caretaker overseeing things that are sort of running by themselves? I've talked with Becca about it too. I mean, it's obviously it's a full-time job for her. And I don't know if you can see it as a part-time job. I think in terms of just finances, you know, can we afford this?
May I comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me say at the outset, we've got 3 businesses here run by 3 people. And that's kind of, that's kind of a bit of an issue. So Victor's job is actually 2 jobs. He runs the TV station and he runs the government meeting service, which make $100,000 a year for him. So that and Olivia runs the co-working, but she also runs equipment and does the studio. And so they're doing as much as they can do. They have full-time jobs. So I think you do need an ED to carry the vision. And the document here about the future requires a lot of going out and talking to people and I think if you could find a person, if you can't afford it, I would get an ED from this community who knows a lot about it and knows who to go see and can run the business and do the outreach. If you want to you could do a part-time ED and you might be able to do an interim ED part-time to move along and keep things steady and going, because the maintaining is okay at part-time. But if you want to grow and do things like the equipment grant and stuff like that and working with other organizations, then you need someone with more time. And Olivia and Victor, they have full-time jobs. What they do takes them all their time. They don't have extra time. So I think you do need a 3rd person, but you could structure it depending on how you want to go. Maybe you want to start with a part-time person, find the one you really love, and then do the whole outreach piece.
The other concern is whether you could get somebody part-time. I mean, you know, half-time job.
I think so. Yeah,
So, in terms of that, my thought was, the budget for the executive director is what it is. But where we have the latitude is in number of hours. So if we found the right candidate who is perhaps a young parent, a parent with young kids, who maybe didn't have the time to spend, it's like, or they had the connections, they had the motivation, they had the personality, or somebody caring for elders, maybe it takes up a fair amount of time. But if it's the right candidate, then you could say, okay, give us 4 days a week, give us 8 days a week, with this salary. I mean, when Becca started, we weren't,
I was part-time.
CTV wasn't paying full time, but it was 60-40 or something like that.
Yeah, it eventually ended up, I think, in half. I think I spent 2.5 days here, 2.5 days there. And we did a lot. We moved, we got rid of stuff. We did a whole bunch of stuff while I was part-time.
And for you guys, the newcomers, there's a similar operation in Gilroy, so she was ED for both Gilroy and here on a 50-50 basis.
The one thing I think that, Maitreya mentioned the kind of person who might, I think there's one more kind of person. I think it's a senior person, not like senior in age, but someone who's just like, an IT person who's just like, I want out, but is a good manager who just wants to work part-time. Someone who just like is done at the end of their career and isn't ready to go home, but doesn't want to work all the time either. And that, I think there are those people out there too. You might get somebody really experienced who just wants to work part-time.
An operations guy, that's Steve.
So I was gonna say, before Becca, the county had put a retired person from the county in there to run the organization. And considering so much of what Becca is involved in is keeping the county happy. I'm wondering if someone who, people can retire from the county at 50, 55, like that. I'm wondering if maybe we should consider a retired county person, because they are gonna have it. And like I said, to me, it seems that really important part of your job is.
It is keeping those guys happy, and they're happy now, and they weren't at first. They weren't happy.
No, they were not.
They were very unhappy when I got here, but now they're happy. They like everybody. They love Victor. And Victor goes out of his way to make them happy. If they have a problem, he's there. They don't even, he fixes everything for the city and the county, and they love him.
Victor's amazing.
Go ahead.
That's all I have to say.
Oh.
And I'm sorry.
My thoughts are somewhat like Keith's, but I just look at the money or the finances, and I think if we could start at some kind of a lesson, if we go out and root the best person from some other place, there aren't too many stones we can turn again around here that haven't been turned 100 times. And so I think your point's well taken. And I think in terms of, if we could find somebody who was willing to do it on less than full time, we could afford to do it. I don't think we can afford to bring somebody from the outside unless they're independently wealthy. And no, I'm serious. I get called all the time by people, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And you all know that, you live here. So I think the point you brought out is good. And if you have a person who goes out in the community and would be good. There's a lot of options. So maybe in a way is to see what you get, but look at doing it in a pared down version just for the sake of your finances.
So I hear all those points and know that many of you have seen this organization and less stable than it is now. So I want to be respectful of that. But I think the tension between that model that you outlined of somebody, retired county personnel who'd be really good at one aspect of the job, the tension with that is what we just talked about in our strategic plan.
Yeah.
That we have, that what we are doing may be working fiscally, but I think to be candid is not fully working programmatically. And the data backs that up. And we are in a time where this organization, we have this mission and vision that we just reviewed, and to empower our community to thrive in a digital world, we need to change a lot of things, to not do things the same. Otherwise, we would be seeing that reflected in the number of people taking advantage of our services. So for me, I think that the tension is the ideal executive director in my mind would be stronger on the vision side. And that doesn't answer the question of part-time or full-time. And that could be a person of any age or experience level. But I would really hope that we find somebody who has clear answers to the questions of what that future looks like and why they're excited about it. even more so than connections and existing relationships with Santa Cruz County, because frankly, I think that's what we can do as a board, and we can recruit to fill that gap. Even if they were a person from outside the community who had clear answers to the vision question, then, you know, many of us have those community connections and can support them as a board. But do we have the answers on the vision side? Some of them, but that's, for me, that would be the fundamental.
I agree. I think working with a nonprofit in Santa Cruz County. There's a lot of change happening, not just for CTV, but for any organization that you can name in the county, and we need someone with vision who's willing to be out in the community and talk to people. So I completely agree with you that if you look at the strategic plan, we really can't go forward without someone like that.
And then Becca.
Yeah, I agree as well. You know, you're absolutely right that a lot of your job has been keeping the county happy. And the county is happy at this point. I mean, the county is gonna be happy unless we stop performing. And right now we're performing. And I think that our challenge as an organization, as you look at that strategic plan, and there's the vision of becoming a media hub, a community media hub, or having more people come in and use the facility. Not just the workspace facility, but that big studio we've got, the equipment we have. And it's sort of like the strategic plan is not going to go anywhere if we go into caretaking mode. That's my fear. It's just not, this is not, I don't mean this as a hit. It's what we've needed since we went through our transition. But we have been in sort of this caretaking mode of barely balancing our budget and watching how things were going with workspace. And I think now that we sort of transitioned to being independent with workspace, we have more flexibility there. This is the time I think we really need to have somebody with vision and some passion for what we're doing. And I don't think we should be afraid to look for that. I mean, there are people who want to live in Santa Cruz and can't find a job.
Right.
Good point. So having said that, I am concerned about finance.
Right.
The thing that I did recently, because, I'm moving to another place, so I wanted to see, how far my retirement will go in Florida. And so I just checked how long it would go if I stayed here. And I can't live here. I was born here, but I can't live here. So here in Santa Cruz, $100,000 a year is below the poverty line.
Mm-hmm.
So that, it makes it hard to get, so here, I have two thoughts and they're weird thoughts, so just let them rattle around in your mind. One thing is, you probably a part-time ED you could get for maybe that, or maybe 80,000, and then do insurance. And that might work. I mean, that might be a way to get somebody good, not all the time, but enough. The other thing is, and I don't know the answer to this question, but is there some other organization that we could partner with? So, we've got a lot of space. We could invite maybe another organization who is sort of like us, could work in here in our empty space and and we could join forces, not like satellite, but like something we could really merge with, that we could amplify the Boys and Girls Club or something like that, where we could have this whole other video thing in a homework area or something. I don't know if I just think it's something to think about, and maybe something will pop into everyone's heads, but maybe partnering or merging with some other business would give us a little more oomph.
First thing that popped in my head was X Academy.
Oh, yeah.
I did theater with my kid did theater with, I'm blanking on his name right now, but, Tim's kid, and, his wife is.
Barbara.
Barbara works at the aquarium, right? And she's there, she says she does your job, or she's not anymore, but she did.
Yeah.
So they're well connected, they work with youth robotics and, something like that,
Yeah.
I think would That might be a good fit.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
I think the best thing you need to do is just go see who you find.
And
Put it out there and.
Put it out
Yeah,
there.
that means we need to have a budget for advertising. I mean, that's.
There's nothing that's
Yeah,
been
we don't
said
have
here
much for
that's,
that.
that's incorrect. It's just what you find. It's what will like.
So I think we're at the stage of, we do have a job description which we can refine. And we're at the stage where we really need to put this out and start to get some, the word out and let folks know and see what we find.
I would be a little shy of Becca's second idea, simply because we're funded through the DIPCA or the cable.
Mhm.
And when you start mixing in some other group in here, you need to really talk to your attorney who specializes in this to see if we wouldn't stumble onto some
Mhm.
problems we never anticipated.
Well, this restricted budget, and we treat it that way.
Yeah.
For certain things.
It's went out. I would
Good
not feel
idea.
comfortable doing it unless we had some pretty clear legal ground in the county agreeing to it.
Well, my concern about a merger is mergers are just tough. You get two organizations with different cultures and things and merge them together. It's very difficult. I think, yeah, I'd rather just go for somebody.
Yeah.
Are you looking for feedback on the big picture, also on the job description? Where I'm not clear on what we're talking about.
Well, let me do one other point and then we'll get into that.
Yeah,
I think the relations of the county has improved vastly, Becca's work and the group of the whole board. And when I first got on the board, it was because the city representative didn't want to be there. And it was chaotic. Keith remembers those days. This is a very professionally run organization now. I think that's what they're happy about, and I'm sure you all will keep doing it. So that was just one thought to pat you on your back.
What do you mean, you all? Are you going something? We all, not you all.
Anyhow, go ahead. I interrupted you, Tom, but I had that one thought and I shut up.
well, I was looking primarily big picture in the sense of just really what are we looking for and what people's thoughts are, whether it's, keep more kind of a caretaker or a visionary evangelist, full-time, part-time, just what people's thoughts are for that position. And then we can drill down and focus on job description and tasks, those sorts of things. But also I want to get it moving and have a committee ready to, advertise this and start to consider applicants.
Just to make one more point, as I've been listening and kind of building on what I had said earlier, I think too, one, our budget is constrained, but I think be familiar with the nonprofit ecosystem. It's not unusual or unprecedented for small nonprofits to pay what we're able to offer, even for full-time positions, especially if they're flexible on other things, whether it's 4-day work week or, vacation schedules, and we have room to flex there. And that can be attractive, especially to earlier career professionals who are not yet homeowners, frankly. And to put a fine point on the vision side, it's digital media and civic engagement are the two pillars that really shine through in our strategic plan, right? So if we could find a leader who has digital media savvy and civic engagement values in whatever shape that is, I think that would be ideal, because there are other things that we do, like the co-working space, that are important to run, but when you sand it all away, that is we are working to turn PEG fees into digital media literacy and civic engagement. And that's the magic that we're trying to, the spell we're trying to cast with taxpayers' money.
That's nicely put, yeah.
I would just sort of add into that, which is it's the underlying skill that goes to those two things. I think it's somebody who has who can think strategically and not get too weighed down in the operational stuff, because we've got good operational folks running things right now.
Here.
Now, you were talking about, you have a committee that does you're working on it. Is there any reason you could appoint somebody else to it, but do you need to change the name of the group or just go ahead and do it?
Well, I'd be interested in my co-committee members who sort of got tossed into this for one of another group. I mean, we need, I guess, a search committee, but it could be these folks if you're willing to still serve, and we need another person on there. Do you have a comment?
I have a question.
Yeah.
And forgive me if I'm supposed to already know this,
Okay.
but the timeline, and then are you you're talking about like a recruitment
Yeah.
committee?
exactly,
Because
Yeah,
what, do we just hire this person?
Yeah.
Who's hiring this
well,
person? Is the county involved?
oh, no, it would be us, it would be
Oh,
this
okay.
board, we would hire
Okay.
this person, so it's basically a recruitment committee to.
Right, 'cause we don't have HR.
Yeah, we don't have HR.
We are HR.
Personnel.
It's a good for the ED,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the
personnel.
process, like all of that is.
Yeah, it's all
important.
within
Okay.
us, I mean, the board would do that, there'd be a smaller group that would kind of lead that, and right now, the three of us have been doing it, I'd love to add several more people to it, and we run into the quorum issue for the board,
Mhm.
but at least one more person we could bring on and, or recast that committee, but yeah, it's up to us, we don't need to, have anybody else approve it.
You actually go, raised the question, which I thought of earlier and forgot. Does the county know you're leaving?
I have not told them yet because I was waiting until like more decisions were
That
made.
feels like that is an important conversation, and it may be a conversation for Guy and you
Yeah,
guys to
I
have
thought we would
together.
have a person introduce it to us for it.
Yeah, you gotta be careful, because they
Yeah,
might wanna.
I don't want them to feel unstable.
Yeah, they might wanna bring in somebody else to do whatever in the world they think they need to do. I don't think.
They're not.
You could have if the committee agreed, you could have a county person sit on or like the interview panel.
That was a good
For
idea.
buy-in.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, they probably would like to have a say.
Well, it's interesting, the county CAO or CEO used to be our analyst.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I think someone from her office can do that in her place, yeah.
But, you know, the relationship has changed significantly. They used to be much more involved in our business.
They're overseeing everything. We met once a month. Yeah.
Anybody who's worked with Susan Mario knows.
So. You know, it may be, it seems to me that it would be good to give, Tammy.
I can give Tammy a heads up.
A
Should I
heads
talk
up.
to Nicole?
What?
Should I talk to Nicole?
And Tammy's the
She's
right.
close enough. Okay.
Tammy is our contact. I would talk to Tammy,
Okay.
just make sure, I don't know, did you mention it to him?
I think I did. Well, then I.
So then it's.
No,
then it would be-
that's okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's fine.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
That's.
yeah, and
But
it's-
it would
and
be-
we've been talking about it.
Pretty sure, I mean, I certainly mentioned it to my supervisor. I think I might have mentioned it to Tammy.
Okay,
Which is fine.
I'll call her. What about Bonnie? Should I talk to Bonnie too? Is the city?
Oh, Bonnie, oh,
I
good.
can.
Sorry.
let her know.
But
Yeah, very.
Yeah, I think, you know, under the no surprises rule, it's
Yes,
probably good
exactly.
to
Yeah.
let folks know, and then,
yeah,
and
well,
then,
yeah, we have been thinking that we could then introduce the new person and find
Yeah.
out, so, but we don't have that person, so maybe we do.
yeah, things sort of, sped up a little bit, and, yeah, I think we're.
And if
okay.
you run any advertising, they may see.
Well, it's not, we don't want it to be a secret, you know,
Right.
we
No,
don't want
no,
to, and we don't surprise folks.
We just,
And they might have candidates,
Yeah.
people they know
Yeah.
as well, so.
yeah.
it doesn't-
Yeah.
You know,
Keith, why don't we mention how, I think Becca came via you, because you talked to somebody.
It was Bruce Pratt,
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
yeah,
See, how Becca got involved,
yeah, apparently.
CMAP did the recruiting.
yeah,
Bruce Bratton talked to Kathy Newsby. She like called me.
Maybe
like
that's what, I
9
can't
times.
remember, it was very informal.
I know, I was like, no, I can't do that. I know that's not my skill set. And, she convinced me.
Okay, well, let's do this, I'd like to get, are you both willing to keep on doing what we're doing? And I'd like to get another person, if someone, I'd kind of like you to be on there. Since you've got some, I think, very good ideas that are well articulated, so, if you can, you know, it adds more work, but
Not a problem.
we'll keep going, you know, we'll keep going. So
I'd be
we'll
happy
add
to.
you, and then we'll kind of spearhead it, and then keep folks, informed. But this has been a good discussion to give some sort of, form to what we're doing, what we're looking for. Okay, and then, thanks, Nick, for that, and then we'll just keep moving, and I think we're at the point of refining these, so take a look. At the job description in there and the list of duties and pass on, edits or thoughts.
Okay,
And
I
then,
have some, I'll pass them on.
yeah, please, and then we'll refine that, and that can circulate around the group too. And then we'll,
I
Start to
don't
get
use
this posted.
Google Docs, let me just apologize. I'll send you a tracked Word document.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
do not use Word, I will not use Google.
okay, that's
Docs.
fine. And then, really, I'd like to get this, posted within a couple of weeks, if you can, and get it started. Because
Can't cooperate.
times, she's a ticket.
Now, Becca, when was your thoughts on your final period of time?
Well, my thought was, that what I proposed to you guys in Central Water was that I would work full-time till the end of July and then go part-time. So I can just,
Nothing's
continue
changed,
to
that's
sign
what I was
checks and
curious about.
on
If
the
you wanna continue
investment.
down one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's the same, okay.
Yeah, and then we'll just, when it's time, we'll
Yeah.
all switch over to bank accounts and stuff like that. And speaking of bank accounts, some people on our bank account that shouldn't be there and that aren't, there are some old board chairs on the bank account, so we probably should go down
Okay.
Yeah, that's an in-person visit.
Yeah,
Like,
you gotta
bring all your paperwork. Bring.
and bring your passport.
Now, Chloe, have you been involved in recruitment for
Yes.
things too? That use your expertise on that and background, so,
I'd be happy to help.
okay, great, terrific. Cause I
I've got
haven't,
a question about
Yeah.
the bank account. But during the period when I was the secretary, we wrote a new board memo signed by the secretary of who should be on the bank account. That should have gone to Bank of America and that should be.
Yeah.
I think that is at Bank of America. I'm sorry, you're right. We closed the county bank account, and when I did that, there were a whole bunch of people on it there. So you're right, you and I and Joe went
Yeah.
to do
I didn't
that, so.
I
Did you
just,
go?
the secretary, I authorized, it's the way you do it.
Oh, that's right, we took your letter.
Create a
Yeah.
board memorandum with a board number, you vote. And the secretary signs that this is a board memorandum that was
Yeah.
voted on by the board, and you think that's the
Right.
bank, and only those people should be on there.
Yeah, it was the county bank account that's, we closed that account.
So you'll get to do that at some point. It's an easy job. I have all the documents that you need, so.
And it is, Comerica Bank is now 3/5 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, they merged with somebody else.
Fits.
And Santa Cruz County Bank merged with something,
Yeah,
there's nothing left.
it's true, it's Golden State or something like that.
Yeah, something west, oh no, Central Coast.
That's what it is, Central Coast.
so in terms of action, for item number 10, I'm appointing, Nick Ibarra to the Personnel Committee, and the Personnel Committee will continue to, I guess, lead recruitment of the Executive Director's position. Any other action coming out of this? I'm gonna lean on others individually, and collectively as we, do this. I like Chloe's idea of if when we have a interview panel, I'd like to have a staff person on there, and I think a county person, maybe a city person too, as well as members of the board.
Great.
We also just keep the folks here up to date, so.
Yeah.
they know as well.
Yeah,
Chair, do we have to allocate funds? I mean, this is gonna be within the current executive director's discretion in terms of spending for advertising and stuff.
I think so. I know that we, when we looked at the budget, we put, I think, $5,000 into something at your direction, Tom, for,
I think it was,
that was for more like consulting fees or something.
yeah,
Oh, we do have consulting, yeah.
Yeah, I think we
that's
did.
the word.
but I'm
Wrong, man.
concerned while we're talking about money related to this. Can you remind me, Becca, how much you included in the budget for Spanish captioning, which is not gonna start now?
I didn't,
I mean,
I didn't include revenue from there, cause we don't have it, so.
I have a distinct recollection that we talked about it and the budget was based on I wanted to say a significant amount of money that you said because we were gonna be doing it.
I don't think so. I would not put that in. We don't have
And there,
agreement.
we,
have no
because
contract.
we talked about a footnote that had to be there. I can't get online. I've been trying to get online to see this. It was my recollection at the April Finance Committee. We had a discussion and we made a point of highlighting that the new budget, that we would call that out. In fact, I think the minutes even said that we talked about it. Sir, I can't see if we can see.
I'm looking at the packet for April.
I think it was April when we approved the budget, wasn't
It
it?
was the last. meeting.
Yes, it was April's meeting that we approved the budget. And I'm looking at it. What do you want to know? Let's see.
Would it just be under the general captioning item?
I don't remember where it was. We'd have to look at
I don't remember a separate line item for Spanish captions.
Right, right.
I mean, I may be remembering wrong, but I remember a whole discussion.
I believe it's
Talked about it, but you don't think I-
$54,587.50,
Oh,
as opposed to this year's was $24,000.
Okay, so it does. so it does include the Spanish
So
caption.
closed captioning is almost double,
Oh, closed captioning. Okay, closed captioning.
but that's Spanish captioning, right?
That's why it's double.
Oh, the
That's my
expense.
recollection too. And
That
what
might be
we
the
point,
expense.
Director,
Yeah.
he pointed out that we have a notation in the minutes regarding the fish dumpster being part of the budget.
So I'm
You-
calling that
yeah,
out because
you
I
put it
think we
in.
already have like a $20,000 hole in our budget.
Yeah, I thought you meant you put it into revenue. You put it into expenses.
No, it was in revenue.
It's in revenue.
Assumed revenue. Yeah.
Closed captioning 4250. $54,587.50. 50 cents.
Oh, this is the old budget.
Well, I wonder one of the other options is not that it takes away from reaching out, but if we need to do it, we have a little bit of reserve we can bring in.
Right,
We're gonna have to do it with the budget adjustments, so we can.
exactly. So that's where I was going with this, which is that I think we need to come back at the next meeting with some budget adjustments, that take into account that we're not, the Spanish captioning is gonna start.
Well, there's SB
Well, like
707,
It has to start this year.
there's SB 707, which takes effect in July. But then the ADA enforcement has been pushed back a year.
Right.
So
Isn't that the visual description? Yeah,
That's
the captioning
It's
is,
different.
Okay, so
captioning is different.
so maybe that's not an issue then, are we set to, we think we're set to start Spanish fairly quickly?
We can do it, if we have tested it and it works, but what the team is working out is how to deal with it. They need to figure out their plan for
process.
post-production.
But the county is not committed yet.
No, they haven't, they got a bid and they asked for it, so they have it, but they haven't signed off on it.
Okay,
They're having their own financial.
so we may or may not have a hole in our budget.
Okay.
Okay.
And just to be clear, the thing that's gotten pushed off a year
It's
is
the-
the ADA and the
ADA,
visual
yeah.
description.
Yeah.
Okay,
visual.
but Spanish caption is still coming up. We
Okay.
just need to work out the kinks.
Yeah, I think I sent you guys a document about.
Right,
Yeah,
I
you
looked
did.
at that
Yeah.
and then I went, and looked and
It didn't have the date in it, though. I
our
think that
date would
was-
be, our date would be January 2027. Is
Yeah.
when it would be, but it sounds like now that's getting pushed out even further.
Well, no, it was supposed to be in 26, April 26, so it's been pushed out to now to 27.
Freya, do you kind of know where it is?
We're in a smaller market.
Not small.
I'm
but
kind of biting,
50,000.
I'm here biting my tongue.
Yeah.
Because I don't, maybe I should have, maybe it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission,
Always.
but, I don't know if I should talk to Rebecca privately.
I'll do it.
We know some things, yeah.
But basically, the clerk of the board, asked for some clarification from county council, and they returned some clarification that probably isn't gonna be very good for us.
They didn't want to do it?
About what's required, about what's required by SB 707, and I've been lobbying for us to do it because it's the right thing to do, but with the current budget environment.
SB 707, is that the,
That has to do with like participation I don't know, I might get in trouble for this, but.
Yeah,
no,
it's the ADA piece, everything you do at all has to be for everybody.
Yeah.
Don't go in trouble.
Yeah, they're good.
Anything you
Well,
publish.
Nick, if I can, so it sounds like we're talking about some things that may want to appear on the next agenda, but if we, to return back to the advertising piece, and this is something that the personnel committee can discuss, I would, I think if we have at least something like $500 allocated for use for advertising, we can be effective with digital only outreach. That's not gonna allow print only, but I think digital only is where, in my opinion, we would want to go, given those pillars we outlined. If you're not reachable by digital content, you're likely not the ideal candidate. And when, you know, and this is something that I help our HR team do and have experience with in terms of, you know, Indeed promoted posts, LinkedIn promoted posts, and a couple of $100 can get you fairly far there. And I think
ACN, sorry.
Yeah, the Alliance for Community Media, you can list jobs there and that's all.
Right,
community
exactly.
television.
So,
Yeah.
so I would wager if we allocated something in that ballpark, which,
I think we probably got that in the budget then at this
Yeah.
point, because we did put in 5,000 in consulting.
We don't even
Yeah,
rotate that in the good times?
No,
So
Yeah.
we can do that now, because we have a little money in that. We might not have any money in that budget. I might have used it to promote this, so, but I'll see what's left in that budget, and
We can do
then
that.
we have the next budget.
for this year, for the end of this year.
and you
Yeah,
can go ahead with that authority, it's in the budget and do it through your committee and just start the process.
Next year starts in 7 days. I
Yeah.
don't think you have to worry.
That's right. We might, I have to check with Mel and see if we may have exhausted that fund to advertising our switch over to the new name.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, thanks, everybody, for good discussion. I'm thinking that I was gonna have us go into a closed session on personnel, but I think it may be moot what I was particularly gonna talk about.
Well, why don't we go in closed section and see what you were thinking of talking
Okay.
about, and then we can determine if
Okay.
it was worth talking about.
Okay, and I think to do that, we're to do, reserve the room. I think we're just gonna go to a different room.
Yeah, we can go in the other conference room.
Oh, is it reserved?
No, it's a closed session and we're on team, so it's just used as the.
Oh,
For them to-
we can't.
And we'll,
turn it off.
we'll report back. I mean, are we gonna, do we need to, I know with the board of supervisors, if they have nothing to report back, then they will just adjourn sometimes.
But we've got things to do after,
Oh.
we have a couple of quick things to do
Okay.
afterwards. Or
Well,
we could do those now.
Yeah,
Well, okay, so I'm gonna then, let's discuss, the meeting, the July and August meetings. In the past, we've had a July meeting, but no August. And one of the troubles with the July meeting is that we don't have final financial reports in time for the finance committee and for that meeting. On the other hand, we need to, I think, meet, perhaps it's a special session in order to continue this recruitment process, or I would think. So I think what we did on the, when we set up the calendar, is we skipped July and had August. I'm not gonna be available for a July meeting on the 27th, if we were to do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
not either.
I'm not either, so.
Well, that sort of sounds that. So let's stick with our August.
The 23rd or the 30th.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's stick with our August meeting. And if we need a special meeting to really do something, to make a plan or make a decision, I'll call a special meeting and we'll just see who can be there. But the fact that you all can't make it and I can't make it.
I'm sorry, and I confirm there's not a meeting in July. And in August, they're making one.
Correct.
There is a meeting in August,
There
and
is
there
a
may
meeting
be a special meeting on some other
Oh,
date if
some
we
other
need to.
special.
As
Okay.
need be.
August, yes, and then a possible special.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that was my new item number 12. So let's just pop up, let's get up and go in the other room briefly, I hope, and then we'll come back and report.
wow, that's a good performance, I would say.
We're live, we're recording.
I don't know if they have us muted in there, but.
Yeah.
Are we recording? Did we stop? Oh, that's still recording. Yep.
We should build in an exercise break at all of you.
Yeah, I like that, that's a meeting over there.
Basketball, in the back, they're still busy.
Okay, I will reconvene, the board of directors meeting at 6:33. We returned from an executive personnel section, talking about transition, and no action was taken. Item number 12, board member staff request for specific items to appear on next meeting agenda. We discussed a couple,
I'd like to suggest that we come back with a budget of, adjustments
okay, budget adjustments for recruitment.
for recruitment.
And
And looking at, if we know whether, looking at our current budget as it was approved last April. And whether or not we need to make additional adjustments based on,
Some revenue.
action.
okay. Just adjustments regarding recruitment
And I'll
and
give Bonnie a call.
Revenue.
What's going on?
I sent her an email telling
Possible
her
revenue
about
adjustments,
captioning, if she wanted to be
regarding
involved,
Spanish
but she
captioning.
didn't get back to me, she always does, I thought maybe she wanted to take that.
Any other, did we talk about
Usually,
anything?
she always talks to me,
It's,
and great about that.
it's hard to hear, guys, at least for me.
Okay, any other specific items? I think that was it. Any announcements? Item number 13.
I guess I have sort of a sad announcement. I don't know if any of you knew the long-term volunteer community TV, Gail Williamson Page. No, okay, she passed away.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sorry.
I didn't know of her work as a community and with community television, but I was an intern in Santa Cruz Community Legal Clinic that she founded many years ago and knew her well and worked with her.
Oh.
And as a, I hate to tell you how long ago that is. But the good news is I decided not to be a lawyer as a result. Can't report, thanks for that. Yeah, she's terrific, great person.
She worked camera on, I don't know how many shows. Years.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that. I used to see her around. She always remembered me to see her around town a lot. Yeah. Okay, motion to adjourn. Anybody? So moved. All right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for.
I realized, next week will be 50 years since the day I moved
Think
here.
about.
Wow.